Welcome to El Profe's Classroom. Class is in session, and today we're gonna be continuing our Alter Bridge retrospective. We're gonna be talking about more music today, and the album we're gonna be talking about is Alter Bridge's second album, Blackbird, from 2007. It was an album that was certified gold, and it's an album that has a runtime of around 59 minutes and 17 seconds. It's, Alter Bridge definitely don't skimp on their albums. Most of them are almost an hour long. So, you're gonna get a lot of tracks when it comes to Alter Bridge and with an Alter Bridge album. Uh, I thought I was reading about a little bit of the history on this album, and I saw that they had problems with their previous record label, Wind Up Records, and because apparently the Wind Up Records were pushing and pushing for a Creed reunion, and which, I mean, I get it. Creed at that moment, back in the 2000s, was freaking huge, way more huge than I thought they should have been. But that's just my opinion. Um, so they moved, they changed record labels. They moved to Universal Republic Records, and the album is, when I looked a little bit of information after listening to the album, it looks like it was more of a metal album. You can hear it from the very moment you put the first song on, Ties That Bind, that this is not the Alter Bridge that I would have called Creed Light. And I was very, very, very happy about this. I finally understood why my friends were always like, Alter Bridge, Alter Bridge. They're talking so much about Alter Bridge. And I finally understood. Blackbird is definitely the band starting to find their sound. And I'm here listen. I don't know. This is coming from somebody who's never listened to or had never listened to a whole album before the last couple of weeks. So maybe they changed the sound for the next album. I don't know yet. We'll see. But you can definitely see that this is not comparable to Creed at all. This is definitely its own thing, its own very peculiar sound, and I really like this album. Surprisingly, I had heard a couple of songs from this album. I remember listening to Blackbird, and there's a couple of other songs that I had heard before. Um, but the thing about this album is that it did the things that I did not like about the previous album, One Day Remains, they did for this album. They upped the guitar playing. The guitar is definitely on the forefront. They made Myles Kennedy's vocals also shine in the production. I think it's a very it sounded very well, this album. So I was very impressed with what I heard. Uh, this is one of those things where it's like it's finally clicked in my head why so many people were fans of Alter Bridge, and I didn't understand it. I heard this album from first second to the last second, and I got it. I understood. So the album has it has a little bit of everything. It has a couple of ballads, which surprisingly are better than the ones from the previous album. Not surprisingly, I guess. I understand this is a much better album for me, but uh, when I listened to the ballads in the last album, or the slower songs, I did not like them at all. or not that I didn't like them. It's just that it's not my thing. So it wasn't high on my list of likes. But this album really has some very emotional songs that really hit you. Um, for example, obviously Blackbird is like the epic of this album. Um, the previous album, I don't remember that it had any songs that were um, 7 minutes long, and I think this song really, sometimes 7 minute songs you're like, really, why do you need 7 minutes? You could tell this story in 5 minutes, but that song really does a great job of of using its runtime correctly. Um, so it's a great and it's also a great showcase for Myles Kennedy's vocals, which I'm really becoming a fan of with this album. Uh, it's There's something about his clean vocals, the way he gets up there. It's something else. Uh, I also like, for example, from the slower songs. I really like Brand New Start. Um, it's just they just sound better. I'm not even sure how to explain it. I think the thing is that even though I might not have been a fan of their huge fan of the previous album, this album does these songs justice. And what I mean is that whenever you have a band finding their sound, you wonder, if you can get the songwriting into the level that it needs. And I think they got it right with this album. Uh, Songs that I didn't like, not many. I think there's one song that I didn't like. That's Before Tomorrow Comes. And it just felt a little bit like it should have been on the previous album. It sounded way more like that band, that Alter Bridge that was the first album, instead of this new Alter Bridge that had like the more metal sound, the guitars are stronger and the solos are way better, and Kennedy's vocals are very good. And also, I have to say, the songwriting is on point in this album. Blackbird, for example, it's a great song. Definitely gonna be listening to that song again. Uh, so I have to say, my friends were right. My friends were right. I should have listened to Blackbird way back in the day, but I think it's pretty cool that we can still find this music and try new things in our older age, when we're more mature. I think it's one of those things where I've always said, when it comes to art, paintings, movies, books, whatever, an artist makes an album, but I've always thought that he makes like like millions and millions of versions, because whenever you listen to an album, it's a whole different experience. Because you find new things, you've lived through things, so your perspective changes. So you're listening to a new thing all the time. But finding something that you never listened to before and enjoying it, that's always a good thing. So, right now, from the three albums I've heard for Alter Bridge, this is definitely on the top right about now. This is a good album, a great album. Uh, I'm hoping to listen to more of this version of Alter Bridge. So we're gonna be checking out AB3 soon, Alter Bridge 3, I guess. Not, I think that title is kind of dumb, but whatever. As long as the music is good, I don't care about the title. But let's see. Let's see how it goes. I'll let you know in the next episode. So, class dismissed.